Making it in the music industry is a goal for many people around the world. They dream of one day becoming a famous star known and loved by everyone because of their music. The few artists that work really hard and are extremely talented still have low odds of making it big, as the music industry is a hard egg to crack. For the very few that find the way in, they quickly realize that the dream they were desperately chasing was truly a nightmare. That's exactly what this artist Niykee Heaton found out after making it. She learned the truth about the industry, and it only took one night with Diddy and Kanye West. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we will be talking about Niykee Heaton's claims about what Kanye and Diddy did to her at a studio session. This story was truly alarming. It only further confirms what I have been saying about the music industry. Let's get right into it. The music industry isn't at all what it seems. So many people praise these celebrities not knowing the truth behind their success, what these artists actually end up doing for that successful career. We have all heard countless stories from artists that make you wonder what's really going on in the music business. Is it really as bad as people make it seem? Or are they just failed artists making things up for attention? If you still believe that after all that's been revealed about the music industry this year, then it's time for you to wake up and pay attention to what's happening. It's like every day this year, someone seems to expose a big name in the industry. A couple of days back, we were talking about the lawsuit filed against Kanye West by a former personal assistant. Today, we're gonna go over the claims former artist Niykee Heaton made about Kanye and Diddy. What's interesting is that Nicki's claims actually tie back to the lawsuit that was filed by Kanye's personal assistant, Lauren. For those who don't know, Nickee was a former artist who got popular in the 2010s after going viral on Warstar for her cover of Chief Keef's song Love Sosa. The song going viral led to her signing a major record deal with All Def Digital. She would eventually drop her hit song Bad Intentions that got over 143 million views on YouTube and is certified gold. She eventually amassed over 4.9 million followers on Instagram. By all accounts, Nickee was doing good with a hit song and a major record label behind her, and it seems like she was going to have a long, successful career. But that wasn't the case, as Nickee would eventually quit the music industry, leave Hollywood, and choose to move far, far away from the industry as possible. You may be asking, why would she do that if she was already in the music industry and succeeding? Well, according to Nickee, she willingly chose to leave the music industry because of an experience she experienced with Diddy and Kanye West. Nickee tells a disturbing story of what happened to her in the music industry, which led her to quit the industry, and it's all because of Kanye and P. Diddy. According to Nickee, she was invited to a studio session with Kanye years back when she first got into the industry. This is the first time she was introduced to Kanye, and after that, she had many recording sessions with him. Nickee claims that one night, she got a call to go to the studio to work on music with Kanye, and she would end up going to the studio accompanied by her manager of the time, Lauren. Lauren is actually the woman who is suing Kanye currently. When the two girls arrived at the studio, they were met by Kanye, Diddy, and two other guys, and a group of 9 other girls.
And people were asking, what's going on with you? Why did you leave the industry? Why did you fall off? Is the music industry as evil as people say it is? And I was like, it's more evil than you could possibly imagine. And I went into depth a little bit, and I was like, yeah, oh wait, hold on. Let me add a moderator, because this is going to be crazy. There we go, cool. I was like, yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. I got out when I could. I was lucky enough to only be assaulted twice, and I was more than that, but it was a truly left an impact on me. And people were like, oh my god, only twice, stop diminishing what you went through. No one should go through that. And I'm like, yeah, all right. And I was never actually going to tell this story ever. I was going to kind of go to my grave with this because in my perspective, it's what's the point? Who would believe me? What good would it do? I don't have proof. I'm not going to file anything. But because of recent events and the things that have come to light quite recently, I felt the need to kind of come on here, and I felt like it was my time to kind of just tell this story. And it's pretty much one of the reasons that I lost a lot of my love for music in that sense, making it public in that sense. So if you have been paying attention to what's going on, Diddy has come down, out about him. It's kind of irrefutable proof. And if you've noticed, people are accusing Kanye now of the same type of And my old manager, Lauren, has kind of been the whistleblower. So basically, I'm telling this story now because, like, you guys know me. I'm out of the industry. I left LA. I'm in like the middle of nowhere, on a farm. Like, what could I possibly gain from this, right? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not filing any sort of suit, so like I'm not getting money from this. And you know that, like, I always tell the truth. Even if it makes me look bad, like, I'm very like brutally honest. So me coming here and saying all this, if you've seen the post about the assault suit or the misconduct, anything like that, like, and if you see the things about like, oh, she's lying, I'm here to say she's not. She's not. Every single thing that she said in that lawsuit is 100% true. And I know that because not only have I seen all of the evidence firsthand, but I was actually there for one of these situations. And this was one of the things that made me want to leave and back out and get out. Like, the industry had almost killed my love for music because of what I had been through. And I had lost my love for it. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. And you know, she is more of a businesswoman. And she wasn't done. And so we were in two different places. And so there was a falling out. But, and she had to keep going. Sadly, she figured it out on her own. Like I said in my one post, like, I've only been assaulted twice. This was one of the two times that kind of changed the trajectory of my life and my career. So I was 19. And if you know anything about me, I, you know, went viral at 18 on World Star and then on YouTube, and like kind of rose to fame really quickly. And I was doing rap covers, so a lot of rappers were reaching out to me and asking to work. Sorry, I'm getting real-time feedback right now. Yeah, so all of a sudden, like, people were reaching out and wanting to work, and I was 19 years old. Like, I had just left home. And working with my manager, and we were in LA and doing all these crazy things. And all of a sudden, I got a call one day, and it's like, hey, like, Kanye wants you to come to the studio. And we were just like, what? Like, Kanye knows who I am? Like, what? This is crazy. So we go. And this happens like multiple times. Like, you can find it if you go back and find headlines, you'll find proof of it. Like, we were working with Kanye, and he was like, I want to know what you're doing in your new music. Like, I want to hear your tracks. I want to play you mine. I want to know what you're doing with this fashion stuff, because like your style is like so cool. And if you go in deep dig enough, like, he said it publicly. Anyway, every time we would go to the studio with him, it was like, yeah, he wanted to work on music, but there was something just like weird about it. We got a call. It was late. We were living in LA. And we get a call, and it's like, hey, like, yeah, he wants you to come to the studio. And we're like, cool, like, why? And he's like, he wants to work on music. And we're like, that's great. And so we go, and it's like somewhere in LA, some studio we've never been to before. And we show up and walk in, and it's we're there to work on music, right? Like, that's why I'm here. And we walk in, and it's Kanye and it's Diddy, and, you know, a couple of people that we know, men, you know, an executive that worked with Kanye's engineer, and Kanye's cousin. And we walk in, and we're like, okay, cool. And it's immediately, I was like, there's something not right. There's something not right about this, because we walk in and there's 9 other women there, women who show up to the studio in their full club outfit at the studio. It's like, they're only there for one reason. They want to leave with someone who's there. They're called studio hosts. That's just what they're called. And there are 9 women there. And we're like, that's weird. I thought we were here to work on music. And like, we were invited, like, I was invited as an artist and my manager. So I'm wearing like fucking double XL sweatpants and like a giant hoodie. I look like a fucking slob. And like, you know, my manager's there in her usual suit, like black leggings, black zip up. Like, we're just like, this is strange, but okay. And we walk in, and there's all these ladies there wearing their club gear, and Kanye and Diddy are already like out of their mind, just like completely drunk, but probably something else. And we're like, okay, but like, we were invited as artists. Like, maybe these girls are gonna leave and we're gonna work on music. Like, let's just walk in and just, yeah. Immediately, I felt like there was something weird.
As you heard for yourself, Nikki claims that Kanye and Diddy were at the studio and were pretty intoxicated. She states that she realized quickly that Kanye and Diddy weren't in making music mode. They were trying to party. And according to Nikki, she was caught off guard as she thought she was there to work on music. Now, she continues the story by claiming that Kanye handed her and her assistant a drink. After sitting there for a bit, she noticed Kanye and Diddy staring at her, almost waiting for her to take a sip from the drink. This is when things start to go left. According to Nikki, she believed that her drink was laced, as Kanye and Diddy both seem eager for her to drink it. This is especially interesting considering the fact that, in the Little Rod lawsuit, he claimed that Diddy would lace his bottles of liquor at the club and serve it to the female guests so that they can have their way with them. This is when Nikki noticed her manager taking a few sips from the drink. Moments later, she was acting unlike herself, like if she was drugged, and it made Nikki concerned. Moments after this, Lauren dismissed all the women that were in the room, and then she would end up going to the bathroom, leaving Nikki alone in the room with Kanye and Diddy and a few other men. And this is when things get rather disturbing.
There's always drinks, there's always, the vodka and the mixer is just like sitting on the table, but we walk in and immediately Diddy hands me a drink, Kanye hands Lauren a drink, and we're like, that's weird. Like, why are they serving us? And I don't like to drink. I don't like alcohol. I don't like the way that it makes me feel. It makes me feel sick. So, but my manager, since the beginning, she was just like, I know you don't like to drink, but if someone famous hands you something to drink, even if you don't want it, just like hold it and like pretend, because you don't want to seem rude. And I was like, okay. And it was like a vodka cranberry, and I was like, oh, gross. And so I'm just back against the console, just like pretending to sip this drink. And my manager was sitting across on this couch with Kanye's cousin, and then the other girls were sitting next to her. And immediately I was like, there's something wrong. Like, I couldn't explain it. I didn't know what to do. But I just like felt that there was something not right. I was 19 years old, like just left home a year ago, new in the industry. Yeah, I didn't know what to do, but I knew that there was something wrong, basically. And I was standing there pretending to sip this drink, and my manager was sitting across from me. And, if you know about like my past and like us being together, like she's very much reserved because she has like severe like social anxiety. Like she just wants to like sit in the corner and like tap on her phone and like not talk to anyone. And I see her across the room holding her drink. And it was weird because I noticed as I was standing there just like wondering what's going on, Diddy kept looking at me. And Kanye kept looking at Lauren, and like they were exchanging glances, and I'm like, they're like watching me strangely. And I'm like, okay, let me pretend to drink, and like I'm not actually doing it. And like that seemed to like make them happy, like me like pretending to like join in. And immediately I'm like, there's something in this drink. And I didn't know what to do. And I like my manager was like across the room, but like close enough, but like not next to me, so I couldn't like whisper to her. But I wanted to tell her, I'm like, hey, don't drink this. There's something wrong with this. But I couldn't. So I reach for my phone and I start to type, and Kanye takes the phone out of my hands and he's like, who are you texting? Like, you don't need to text anyone. Like, we're having a party. And I was like, okay. And he like puts it on one of the speakers. Now what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. And I see my manager take a sip, and I'm like, now what do I do? And then I see her take another sip, 2 sips out of this little vodka cranberry cup. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? 2 sips, and I watch her face flush. And all of a sudden, like I look over and she's speaking really loud and like making jokes. And I'm like, whoa, like this isn't her. Like she doesn't make jokes. She's terrified of people. Like she doesn't even talk. And I was like, it's already hitting her. Like 100%, I just knew that the drinks were all laced with something. And she starts like almost being like belligerent a little bit, but not in like a crazy way, just like really enjoying herself. And I'm like, that's not her. That's not her. She doesn't even want to be here. Like this is weird. And all of a sudden she like dismisses the studio host. She's like, you can leave. And I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? And the girls file out. They go to like a different studio, or they go somewhere. And I'm like, I have to do something. I have to do something. What do I do? And I go to get my phone where Kanye put it on one of the speakers. And as I'm going to get it, I turn and my manager's walking out. And I'm like, no. Like where are you going? I'm already seeing people being like, this is cap. What do I have to gain? Let me just ask you, what do I have to gain? I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm not filing a lawsuit, so I'm not getting paid. I'm not looking for clout. So why would I lie about this? This has been 9.5 years since this happened to me. Why would I? Let me go on. Whatever. Yeah, so I see her start to leave. And I'm like, where are you going? And she's like, it's fine, I'm just going to the bathroom. And I was like, no, stay. And she's like, it's right there, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay. And she walks out. And all of a sudden, I realize that I'm in this studio. The music's low, the lights are dim, but you can still like see everything. And I realize that I'm in the studio with Diddy and Kanye, and they're both off it. And there's 3 other men, an executive that works with Kanye, his engineer, and his cousin, and alone. And I haven't started freaking out yet. Like, I know what the situation is. I know, I know this is a bad place to be in, but I don't really feel scared yet, you know? Like, because I'm like, there's other people around. There's other men around, and I know them. Like, I've known them for a while. Like, nothing bad's gonna happen. And I'm standing there, and I realize that so this is like a pretty, like, sizable studio. There's, like, the glass doors, the couch there, a console, another console, the screen, all of that. But it's, like, it's pretty big, but you can still see and talk to everyone easily. And I realize that I'm standing really close to the exit, and it's a glass door, and it opens in. And I'm standing pretty close to it. And I realize all of a sudden that Kanye and Diddy have realized that I'm the only girl in the room. and they start coming towards me, and they're like, don't you want to take your clothes off? Like, it's so hot in here. And I'm like, no, fine. I'm fine like this. And they're like, it's just us. Like, we're all just friends. Like, let us just, like, see, like, how you look. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. And, like, I still haven't gotten scared yet, you know? Like, I'm still, like, this is a bad situation. I'm creeped out, but, like, there's no reason to panic. There's other men here. So they're coming towards me, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where my manager is. I don't know where anyone is. And they're coming towards me more, and they're trying to, like, take my clothes off. And I'm like, at that point where I'm like, this is not good, but I'm, like, still trying to, like, play it off. Just like, stop, you guys are stupid. Like, get out of here. Like, don't touch me. But scared. Okay, now it's back. Okay, so let me just get to the point. So they start trying, like, they're, like, pawing at me. Like, they're both drunk, probably on something else. And I start to get a little bit apprehensive because I'm pretty much, like, backed up against the wall. Like, there's only one exit, and I'm pressed up against this door. And I'm still not completely terrified yet, but I'm like, you guys stop. Like, stop. And they're getting to the point where they have, like, ripped my shirt off. And, like, I'm, like, almost fully exposed at this point. And they're both coming at me. And I'm like, you guys, like, seriously, this isn't funny anymore. And I look to my left where his executive is. Like, we know him pretty well. Like, we've been around him a lot. He's literally 3 feet away from me. Like, if I reached and he reached too, like, we could touch. Like, he's that close. And I look and I'm like, hey, like, I give that look where I'm just like, come on, like, step in. Like, this isn't cool. Like, you're a grown man. Like, you're, like, 50 years old. I know you have a family. Like, you know this isn't right. Like, do something. And this is the part that for as long as I live, I will never forget. It isn't actually the aspect of being assaulted. That's not what haunts me. It's this. It's as these 2 grown men were pawing at me, trying to take my clothes off, I look over to this man asking for help, and I literally mouth the word help. And we lock eyes. And he looks away. I'm like, okay, there's still 2 more men in the room. And I look to his engineer next, who's sitting right next to him. And I know that he's married, and he just had a little baby girl. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna do something. And I look at him next, and I'm like, okay, like, do something, say something, do anything. And he looks down at his phone and starts texting. And then I was like, oh, fuck. I look at Kanye's cousin next. And I'm like, do something. And he spins his chair around. And that's when that, like, gut-wrenching fear set in. No one is saving me tonight. No one's gonna do anything. And that's when I was truly scared. At this point, they had ripped my shirt off, and they were trying to get my pants off. And I realized that I was completely alone. And I closed my eyes for a second, and I was like, God help me. What do I do? And as my eyes were closed, this is going to sound weird because I bet a lot of you are wondering, like, how you get out of this situation. My eyes were closed, and I prayed, and I said, God help me, what do I do? And it was like clear as day. I heard this in my head, and it didn't make any sense. I heard, go towards them. And I was like, great, the one time I asked God for help, Satan answers, because why would I go towards these 2 predators who are assaulting me? That? And then all of a sudden it clicked. My back was up against the glass wall. I could not go any further back. That was the only exit. He said, go towards them. They were already drunk off there. So I lunged forward. I stepped forward and it like threw them off balance. Like they were like, oh, you know, and like they stepped back at least 1.5 feet. And the moment that they did, I reached behind my back, I pulled the door and I slipped out, grabbing my clothes. And I ran across the hall, across this corridor, and I hid inside of an empty studio that was black. And I sat there for like 20, 25 minutes, just like crying, texting my manager and she's not answering. And eventually, I don't think I'm supposed to say this next part because it could hurt her case, but basically, everything, basically. Because what I saw next, I saw it. I was the only one who wasn't drugged. I was the only one who didn't drink their drinks, whatever it is. I was the only one. So I saw what happened next and who was involved. And that's why I'm a part of this lawsuit and like named in it. And yeah, it just, that, I mean, I eventually got us both out and I got us in an Uber and she obviously didn't remember anything because she was drugged and I wasn't. And apart from the aspect of, you know, looking for help and they turned away, the only other thing that really is, what about all those other girls that were there? Those 9 other girls who were drinking the drinks before we even got there. Like, I know none of them got out. I know none of them got saved that night.
As you heard for yourself, Nikki explains how the moment her manager got out of the studio, Diddy and Kanye started acting off. She claims that they asked her if she wasn't hot and suggested she removes her clothes to cool down. When she refused to remove them, they decided to take it upon themselves to do it for her. It wasn't until she prayed and shoved her way out of the studio that she was able to escape these guys. She then ran off and hid in another empty studio room in the dark for more than 20 minutes. One thing that was messed up is when she claimed that she looked at the men that were there at the studio and asked them for help. She claims that they all just looked away, even claiming that an executive who worked for Kanye that she knew from the industry looked away and ignored her pleas for help. Instead of him helping her, he pretended not to see. This lets you know that these executives are encouraging these artists, not stopping them. They all pretend to be detached from these artists, not knowing what they're doing behind the scenes, but that's all lies. That's why in the Little Rod lawsuit, it names Sir Lucian Grange, the head of UMG, as being one of Diddy's accomplices, paying for his lavish freak-off parties and even allegedly participating in them. Now we hear the story of this woman claiming that an executive was in the room and was witnessing Diddy and Kanye do this inappropriate act and didn't even try to stop them. After this, Nikki claims that she lost her love with music, but it's not like it matters because the moment she turned down Diddy and Kanye, she blackballed her life. She didn't know that at that moment she was being tested, initiated in to see if she was going to be down to play ball. That's why that executive was there. They were there to see if she was the one. When she refused, she ended her own career. Nikki claims that this was only the PG version of the story, claiming that things were much darker than what she said. She also claimed that Lauren went back in the room and did God knows what with Kanye and Diddy. Unlike Lauren, Nikki claims she is not suing or trying to get any clout or money from this. She just wanted to tell the story since her former manager Lauren was being dragged for suing Kanye. The thing is, it's obvious by now that this is normal behavior in the industry. If you want to be a star, you have to go through the gatekeepers first. Nikki states that she has nothing to gain from telling this story, and considering the fact that she didn't try to promote anything after making those claims, makes her more believable in my opinion. Kanye and Diddy are obviously both into the same things. They both love to put up this front for the public, but behind the scenes, they're out here forcing themselves on upcoming artists. This is exactly how the gatekeepers come for you. They see you buzzing, gaining some attention, and before they let you become a star, they want a piece of you first. This woman's career was dead the moment she walked out of the studio. I've been saying this for years now. The music industry as it is needs to end. We must rebuild it with morals and rules. Currently, the industry is run by literal demons who think money and fame gives them the right to be monsters. How many more victims do we need to hear about? How many more celebrities do we have to see get exposed before the masses stop worshiping these false idols? This is what happens when people worship celebrities. The celebrity becomes full of themselves and see themselves above everyone. If you're an artist trying to make it, maybe change your goal. Instead of making it in the industry, opt out to be independent and have a smaller career. God will always provide as long as you trust in Him. You don't need to sell out to Lucifer for temporary fame. This woman was almost forced to compromise herself in order to make it. If she would have done what Diddy and Kanye wanted her to do, she would have sold their soul right on the spot. That's what selling your soul is. Thankfully, she claims she turned to God at that moment and felt that her prayers helped her out of the situation. Most other people would have just sold out and done whatever they had to do with Kanye and Diddy to make it. Most of these superstars are victims who are okay with being victimized as long as they have a career. I want to know what you guys think below. Do you agree with me that Kanye is Diddy 2.0 at this point? I said in my last video that Kanye is the new Diddy, and now hearing that he was out here doing dirt with Diddy only further confirms that to me. Well, I'm gonna end this one here, but before you guys go, I just wanted to remind you guys to subscribe with the notification bell on so you don't miss any new content. For those who want to further support what I do, you can by becoming a Patreon member for $3 a month. Patreon members help the channel grow and also get access to new exclusive uncensored videos and also access to a library of over 28 exclusive videos instantly. If you don't want more content but still want to support the channel, check out the TrueFit store as I recently had some new designs created. You can find the link to that in the description. I want to thank you all for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.